Okay. This happens to me a lot. I'll be sitting there talking along, and I'll still be talking, and this thing will be off. So I've only got like 12 gigabytes left on this thing, and I had 33 left over. So there's like 20's been used, and so I got to go through this list really quickly. So, 104 mile per hour softball player, and this is in my hometown. A guy that could toss softballs the size of grapefruits, 104 miles per hour. It was in a special team that was kind of like the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball, and they were called the Parades Clowns. And they would they would play any team, and they could play any straight baseball team and strike them out before they could ever get on the field, because they had this baseball player who could strike anybody out, and so they would if they did play, they would probably wouldn't win the game, and so these guys would play against all sorts of players, and the pros knew better than to they knew to stay away from these guys because they would strike them out, so usually the people that would so anyhow, they were based in Los Alamos, New Mexico, which is the home of the atomic bomb. And I don't have my Los Alamos T-shirt on. This is Flynn's. It's a reference to Tron. This thing glows in the dark, by the way. I bought it at Disneyland. Let's see. So that's a channel. We can actually go into that, and you can see what it's just these old codgers talking about baseball.
Fans could see how these three guys could operate behind me. And
Whoops. Right there. We'll do it this way.
A joy to watch these guys, because say a ball went to right field, the first baseman would go get the ball, the second baseman would become the relay man, and they both could run like deer and throw like they had arms like cannons. And that relay man would get the ball. If that guy's headed for third, he's dead. If he's rounded third and headed home, he's really dead because they're going to get him.
In the 200 games that the Parades Clowns played over a 25-year period, some of the most memorable, even today, are the games they played against the Penitentiary Rocks out of the Santa Fe prison and the Albuquerque Dukes, a AAA farm club for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Going to the pen and playing was always a good experience. It always opened your eyes a whole lot. I enjoyed it. More joyful when I was coming out than when I was going in.
So they're...
In the early days, those guys didn't have anything. They had their allotment of cigarettes. And they betted among themselves when the clowns came to play. They would bet their cigarettes against your cigarettes. And we'd go down and beat them. That was it. But they were waiting for us. They always enjoyed. They always accepted us, kind of like with open arms. And then,
this is what I need to do. I need to do a VR 180 video where I just cover some stuff that I can
pretty good check writers.
Elsewhere on YouTube.
Because the field was decorated with chalk, and they had clowns in the batting boxes, and they had things around that was pretty good artwork.
Well, I didn't know much about it. As we were walking through, there was 6 Spanish guys that knew me and said, "Goofy, what the hell are you doing here?" I said, "Playing ball." I said, "What the hell are you doing there?" They knew me because they must have been from Española.
Espanola is like
golf chair. It was as flimsy a looking thing as you can
it's
ever
closer to
imagine.
Los Alamos than
He'd sit on
Santa Fe
that
is.
chair. It would fold up so it could go in a golf bag. And so he'd unfold it out, and a tripod of legs would come out, and he'd sit on this little chair and play the concertina. And he'd sing some songs, and he'd always have something for the occasion to sing, and the fans liked it quite a bit. Bun's trying to pitch, and he's singing songs. At the state pen, this just happened. He just decided one time he pulled out his normal tunes and was singing away. And then, my goodness, in this particular time, he changed the lyrics just a bit to sing, "If I had the wings of an angel, over these prison bars I would fly." And oh my God, the lyrics just hit the spot for the Rocks, and they cheered from the stands. They were the most
Oh yeah, they
fans in the world.
prisoners love to hear songs that have something to do that have to do something about getting out of prison.
That by special arrangement, the inmates, the penitentiary Rocks, were allowed to come to Los Alamos and play on the Clowns' home field. Playing with the Albuquerque Dukes was a whole different experience. That was a supreme mix of baseball and softball.
Well, when the baseball team was on the field, which would be the Dukes, and they pitched the baseball on a
Dukes is,
regulation baseball field.
New Mexico's one of
When we
the
reversed it,
baseball teams from New
pitching
Mexico. The
rubber was
Albuquerque
moved
Dukes.
up a little bit closer. The softball field the bases were a little closer, and they were laid out before the game started, of course, so the switch was just made automatically. And there was a few of the guys that were figured on being Major League Baseball players, and they didn't want to have anything to do with playing against that softball team. No way, I'm out here to get a little bit higher in the baseball field, and no softball for me. So
They
after
play
Bun
against these
pitches,
clowns, and then they become nobodies if they
strikes
were
out
to.
the whole
These clowns that make them
lineup.
look really bad.
A few of those dope big hitters thought, let me get a piece of that.
Of course, the prisoners would have no problem
Hardly any way
playing
to
these
tell
guys.
that
You know,
story
because I mean,
without wishing that everybody in life could see it once, because one of his dad's many acts was to taunt the best hitter on the team by telling him, "Don't feel bad, big boy, he strikes out good hitters." And if that didn't get him riled up enough, he'd say something else after the second strike. And in this particular game, they decided, I think he knew the guy was coming up, and they decided to warm up with the ash can lids, and they all had ash can lids on. And here comes this home run hitter trying to make the Albuquerque Dukes to make the Dodgers later on professional team. I mean, a true professional team. But the kid was determined, and he was huge. And Bun threw the first pitch in, and he swung at it and missed. And I'm telling you, the air left the park. He swung so hard. On the second pitch, Dad got closer, banging the ash can lid and screaming, "Don't feel bad, big boy. He strikes out good hitters," making noise with the ash can lid. And now he's about 15 to 17 feet from the batter. He wasn't much farther than me from the camera here. And honestly, the next pitch goes in, he misses it again, and Dad gives him another round of "Don't feel bad, big boy." And now the fans are pretty quiet. I think they're beginning to root for the batter, because that's their team. That's the guy, they'd like him to be successful, you know. And sure enough, Bun throws the next blazing fastball in.
Hit one right on the button, one of Bun's fastballs, and it went from the bat to the third base.
And all you could hear was the crack of the bat and the bang of the ball hitting the trash can lid 15 feet away, and Dad smothering it up against his chest. Not a soul in the stadium thought he possibly caught it. The batter never left the batter's box. He just stood there looking at Dad at third base. And then when Dad raised his hand up with the ball in his hand, the fans just came unglued.
This big home run hitter.
and that guy hit one. He hit a shot, and Lou's hand went up, and he caught that thing and fell back. And it's the best, one of the most athletic plays I've ever seen anyone make. And Lou was just shaking after that because this guy hit it hard.
Bun was getting kind of up in age a little bit. He was still Bun Ryan, but he wasn't 25 anymore. Well, I'm playing third base, and before the game started, Bun is up on the mound, and he's warming up. And he's just throwing slow, just getting warm. And I hear the cat calls from the visitor's dugout to my right. Get off the field, old man. You rag arm. What are you doing out there? First batter comes up, and Bun threw a pitch at him that I swear had a tail behind it. And the guy just leaned back. He was amazed at the speed that this old man could throw. And I look over at the opposing team's dugout, and everybody to a man is going. And after that, Bun just started mowing them down, one right after another. He might have thrown a no-hitter that day. I don't really remember. But after the game, I asked him, what gave you the energy to do that? And he says, well, and I'm paraphrasing, he says, well, they got me angry. And when you got Bun angry, you paid the price.
Don, that's an ash can lid, like the infielders used in that famous Albuquerque Dukes game.
So it just, let's see if I can get to the video where they talk about him throwing 104 mile per hour. I don't know about it, but it's in there. I don't know. Anyhow, that's that. So, 104 mile per hour softball pitcher, NRBQ, which is a band that plays old style rock, but they do it in a way that's very kind of, it's like they play it, they got a style, but the style's no style to play rock, and it's very rough. But they also got other music that's their own. I mean, they don't cover anybody. All their music's their own, but it's rock. You have to hear it. And supposedly other musicians like listening to them. So, alter rock, alter. So that's an alternative rock alter. So that's like tribute to alternative rock. It's a station. Artist 70s. And usually when it's a station, it's got a name that's just really kind of doesn't make any sense. Because, I mean, what do you call a station that's a bunch of playlists combined? 70s Songwriters Club, AC/DC. Somebody wanted me to have AC/DC music on there, so I made a channel for that. Bunny Riot, Duran Duran, Green Day, Heart, Howard Jones, Human League, Levon Helm, NRBQ again, Rolling Stones, Squeeze, Weezer, Jamiroquai, Crosby, Stills, Nash, Rentals, Joe Jackson, Boston, Crash Test Dummies, Jackson Brown. This is my artist section of my site. Rush, 24/7, Seals and Crofts, Simon and Garfunkel, yes. Adrian Belew, Bottom Up Business Inspiration. That's just a bunch of business. This one guy who's a business mogul. Dana Carvey, whose line is it anyways? Eminem, every U.S. candidate debate since. freeware LMMS demo, so that's a Linux version of Fruity Loops, FL Studio. History of microcomputers. Is that a music? I don't know. Yeah, it was that time. It was a playlist, and I just didn't even bother naming it. Let It Rock, Subject to Change. It's a station, so it's got a bunch of videos. It got Los Alamos Historical, which is where I got that baseball thing from. Maybe You'll Like This. Music Colors. Music Prime Thantos. Colors is another. It's another show, kind of like Jam in the Van. Prime Thanatos is Thanatos as kind of techno music with kind of 80s inspired type neon glowing art. Music Exploratory, Musicals, Muppets. Official Los Alamos Laboratory videos. Stevie Ray Vaughan, synth music. Todd Terje, which is a techno artist. VR apps, Rec Room. So there's like anything having to do with Rec Room. Watch Me, 60s music. Watch Me is me singing, I guess. Feel Good music. Make Pixar quality content for free. So it's about Blender. Me singing in VR 180. Mark Horvath's Invisible People. So that's all his interviews with homeless people. Rolling Stone Sucker Punch. Rolling Sucker Punch. I think that's Rolling Stones with Sigrid and some other musicians. Time to Get Weird. So it's Weird Al's stuff. Record label, Sub Pop. Susie and the Banshees, The Nylons. Dirty Projectors and Friends, which is another band. John Oliver, so a lot of John Oliver videos. Rhino Records, Sub Pop. TIYL Eddie. I don't know what that is. Toto. Analog Girl, which is this lady who talks. It's a tranny. It's a guy who became a lady, who talks about analog electronics. And I don't know what her name is, but she's the Analog Girl. Black Slavery Made in America, which is a set of videos that I put together to kind of give you the idea that America wouldn't exist if it weren't for the black slaves. It's a sad fact, but it's true. Because what attracted a lot of people from overseas is the idea of coming to America and living like a king, and to have your own peasants, which is the slaves. So you buy these slaves, and they would work your land, and you could grow whatever you wanted to. You didn't have to be subject to anyone. But the slaves were subject to you, and evidently you could, in America, if you were a slave, you could win your freedom from slavery after working a certain amount of time. But it was a shit deal, and you never, even if you were to get your freedom, you were never respected. UC Country, Friedman, Hammond Music, Bay Ledges, Zia, we used to be friends. So Zia McCabe and I used to be friends, and then I did something really stupid that fucked up our relationship. Zia McCabe is, that's her stage name. She's the synth player from the band, the Dandy Warhols. And I got to kind of know her through email. We never knew each other in real life, and I did something really stupid one day, and she hasn't forgiven me for it. probably didn't give a shit about forgetting about me anyhow. And JMEK, JMD, 70s and 80s. I don't know what that is. I think I think I remember putting that up too. 80s hard rock authors, Andrew Gold, best techno I could find, Billy Thorpe, Billy Curie and Steve Howe, Captain Everheart, which is all stuff from dang it, what's his name? The lead singer of Double. He's a Swiss band. Did Captain Everheart, but it's all of his music. Drum Channel, so it's the Drum Channel from YouTube. All their videos. Eric Clapton, Flaming Lips. Free movies, no ads. Good movies. George Thorogood. Guitar lessons. Hal Roach, Little Rascals documentary. Hillbilly covers. Oh, Hillbilly covers. Hillbilly live and static. So these are hillbilly music covers of other people's music. Indigo Girls, international 2019 hits. So that's all the hits of 2019. African, French, Latin, Indian, and American. Because I cannot get, when you say international hits anywhere in the world, it usually is an assumption that it's American hits, or it's in the American music scene. It doesn't assume that there's hits from any other place. So I had to put together, I had to get playlists from other, from the Latin crowd and from the African, and I could have done it for more, but the idea is that international hits are not international hits because nobody's going to listen to anything, or it assumes that nobody's going to listen to music from somebody who doesn't speak English. And so it's just like the English-speaking crowd of music, which is unfair. And I like to listen to music from all sorts of people. One of the example is Emily Simon from France. And she sings a lot of stuff in French. It doesn't bother me at all. I love her music. And I mean, it could be like that German commercial where they're trying to encourage people to speak English, and it shows this family, they're bobbing their heads to the song that says, I want to fuck you in the ass, I want to fuck you in the ass, and to kind of encourage people to learn to speak English. But, I mean, they could be saying stuff like that in any kind of foreign song, and if the song was good, I'd be bobbing my head to it, and I'd be like, if I knew it was I want to fuck you in the ass, I'd be like, yeah, some people are into that, Okay, John Prine, John Prine his, I don't even remember who John Prine is. Jax Jones, Extrapolated, Jax Jones Radio, Jeffrey Osborne. It's like if I even have the inkling of I want to make a playlist out, I'll make a playlist, and then it's just kind of like, make a playlist, forget about it, I'll come back to it some other time. Carla Bonoff, she's the one that did that song. I wanted to send that to you personally, yeah. I'm going to sending it to you personally. It's all of her music videos. Letters to Cleo, liberal country songs. So it probably has the Dixie Chicks, for instance. Morrissey, Smiths, Mary Ann Redmond. She's another musician, I think. Modern Music 2019, Mondo Rock Band. They're the ones that did the song, Let the hand of the heart waiting for you in the state of... And they did that song, which Rick Springfield did a cover of, and he did the worst cover than they did. I mean, they're the original, and the Mondo Rock is an Australian band. I had a brief period where I really liked Mondo Rock's music, and the movie Robot Carnival is a famous anime movie. Music and stories, Motley Crue, Nazareth, Nick, Wouldn't It Be Good, Kershaw, Wouldn't It Be Good if we, that's Nick Kershaw, Paul Carrack, Peter Frampton, Real Women Comics, Rock and Metal 1001, 1002. So this is like all the music, all the current rock, metal music. Is that a station? Are those? No, those are music playlists. Okay. Rock True Stories, Stephen Bray songs from Wikipedia. Who's that? Okay. Shane McGowan. What? Spotify. 70s rock. Static 70s videos. Stevie Nicks, Stevie Wonder documentary. Technically 80s do. Dead Milkmen, the Go-Go's, the Muffs, the Police, Wanda Sykes, Christmas specials, YT Chan, YouTube channel, R Sounds Electric, that's the guys that I almost Patreoned. Trash Theory, MusicRoamer.com, Augmented, Andrew Levon, Bonnie and Carla Rad, oh, that's a station, isn't it? Yeah, it's a station. It's got Andrew Gold, Levon Helm, Bonnie Riot, and Carla Bonoff combined. Random. Lounge X, The Bean 24/7. So that's that comedy. The guy, The Bean, you know him. 1980s movie trailers, Caravan Palace, Invisible People, everything. So this is like 1,500 videos of interviews with homeless people, which I recommend everybody see these videos because you will not believe the kind of people that are homeless. They're not all crackheads. I mean, that's the way everybody paints any kind of group, is they clump them together and they create a stereotype and they say they're all like that, Jane Playlist. So that's Jane, the musician. So that's Strapalations music. Monty Python. As much Monty Python as you can get, which is a joke. Steve Winwood inspired What's in My Bag, 80s station. I hope the fact that Monty Python won't put all their videos and stuff on the internet, that they'll get forgotten in 100 years because of that, and they probably couldn't give a shit that people forget them, but that's what's going to happen. In 100 years, nobody's going to fucking remember anything about Monty Python. I mean, the kids don't even know who Python is now, So if John Cleese is watching this, your ass is going to get forgotten, dude, because you guys are dumb enough not to put your videos up on YouTube, because of all the content that's on YouTube, that stuff is going to end up being more entertaining than any of the shit you ever made. And you got to get in on putting your shit up there and getting it seen, because you may think you're popular, but you're fucking nobodies now, And to the new generation, and their generation, the generation after them, not even going to remember who the fuck Monty Python was. Mark my words. Your children's children are going to say, they don't even know who our fathers are, and say, yeah, you're going to get forgotten. It doesn't take long. Steve Winwood inspired Monty Python. What's in My Bag 80s Station 10 playlist combiner. So it's got like 80s from several playlists of like 80 videos that I have an Australian 80s video playlist that's got like 600 videos in it from Australia 80s music videos. Best of the web, best new French pop, best African pop, best Indian music, best Latin pop. So those are the playlists that I use to get my best international 2019. So if you watch the best international 2019, you're going to get videos from all of those playlists. Deadmau5, the techno guy. Gilbert Sullivan's Mikado 24/7, and that's the best version of the Mikado I've ever seen. It's from the Stanford group. Stanford, Stamford. They're Canadian. It's a Canadian from the 80s. Best Mikado performance I ever heard. More 80s bands, musicians that inspired Kiernan, which isn't very long because I didn't spend enough time on it. Not the 9 o'clock news, which is the guy who's in the Bean. That was his British show. And random NPR music, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Rockabilly, Top 2000 A Go-Go, Unique Brits and Beyond, Wonderful Weirdness, Best Pop of 2019, Kinda Neat, AR Greats Album Oriented Greats, Same as It Ever Was, so that's Talking Heads, long stuff, more free old movies, low rem tunes selected from Spotify, so these are lo-fi music. Frank Stallone, that's the guy. That's a Frank Stallone movie, I guess. He's Sylvester Stallone's older brother, who is a musician. 70s, 80s stuff, 1,000+ trailers to movies. 1970s static video albums with 70s music in the background. 1981 Adam Ant inspired, so it's music videos probably derived from Spotify or something that were inspired by Adam Ant. 1981 Pop, 1981 to 84 Exhaustive Hits Collection, 1986 Dance Hits, 1986 Better Half, 1987 Dance Hits, 1988's Rare Dance Hits, 1995 PBS Rock and Roll Documentary, which is a great documentary because it's got guys like David Byrne, and he isn't like really proud of himself. He's like really humble in this video because it was from the 90s, and he didn't really think that people would remember him in 20 years. So he was like, I wasn't, when I made Psycho Killer, I wasn't trying to make, it wasn't supposed to be a particular song. I was just trying to see if I could make a song. And that was his first song, evidently. And so that documentary has him in there. It has all the punk rockers. It has the Ramones,